perspectives about what happened this past week, and this particular weekend, what kind of games are dangerous to pick, the ones that are easy to pick, so that you don't fall yourself in the Aston Villa way. Charlie Rowing, talk to us.
Habari Zamachana. Charlie Rowing, European football reporter in the United Kingdom. Very happy to be joining you once again on TV47 as we have another very exciting Premier League weekend ahead of us. There's no doubt, of course, that the Premier League is one of the best leagues in the whole world, not only generating billions of revenue each year, but having some of the world's best players playing here. I think it's no coincidence that 2 of the 5 last Champions League winners have been English teams. Plus, this year, 5 of the top 8 of the Champions League stage teams were all English, with Newcastle also making it through to the playoffs to have every English side in the round of 16. Personally speaking, I do love watching a slightly lower standard in the Championship, where of course Kenyan international Colin Sichenje plays for my side, Charlton Athletic, and I do enjoy Italian and Spanish football. But there's no denying that the EPL are a gulf apart from the rest of the world in terms of quality and the star power that they can attract. And coming into this weekend in the Premier League, let's start with Newcastle versus Everton, a game that you can watch live on TV47. Newcastle, who I just spoke about, booked their place in the Champions League last 16 in the week with a win against Qarabag. They host an Everton team who have been resurgent under the return of former manager David Moyes. I mentioned last week that Newcastle were on a good run of form, and they were only just beaten by Man City 2-1, whereas Everton have been a bit up and down this season. They lost to the other half of Manchester and David Moyes' former team at Manchester United 1-0 on Monday, but are unbeaten in 5 of their last away games, so they won't be fearing the trip to Newcastle, and it should prove to be another really entertaining encounter. Next we come to the biggest game of the weekend, and it's a London derby, as it's Arsenal versus Chelsea. These 2 sides really don't like each other, and Chelsea fans would love to stop Arsenal from ending their long wait for a Premier League title. Can they though? Well, that's another interesting question. Recent history is very much with the Gunners, who are unbeaten in their last 10 matches against Chelsea in all competitions. Arsenal have also won their last 3 games in the Premier League at home against the Blues, and perhaps hold a recent psychological edge, having knocked them out in the League Cup semi-finals, beating them in both legs. Personally speaking, I'm going to back recent and historical form and go for a 2-0 win for Arsenal. However, although I'm backing Arsenal to win this weekend, do I think they're going to win the Premier League? They're of course leading the way by 5 points, but Man City are hot on their tails, and it's worth remembering that they have a very important game in hand, and Arsenal still have to visit the Etihad in April. Both teams are in good form, but what I think is going to be more important is the mental aspect, and City have recent winning experience, something that Arsenal just don't have. In fact, in all the time that it's taken Arsenal to win the Premier League, City have only gone and won it 8 times, and the Premier League champions for 6 of the last 10 seasons. Whilst Arsenal finished the last 3 seasons in a row in 2nd place, all in seasons where it looked like it was finally going to be their year. So my head is saying City to win it this year and overcome Arsenal. But in any case, you can catch all the excitement live on TV47. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Charlie Rowing, coming to us live from London. And you've actually heard from Charlie Rowing. He is a fan of Charlton Athletic. Now, Charlton Athletic is where our very own Sichenje is playing in the championship in the UK. So you can imagine we have someone who is having direct connection with a Kenyan touch in London. So you can show every weekend, every week, she'll be giving you updates from London and of course from Sichenje. My director says we go to